you having a huge party?
Nope, just me.
Get delicious cuisine from the country's best chefs, delivered right to your door with the click of a button.
Chris Godwin, just incredibly tough, talented, a weapon for the Bucs.
He does it all. Special guy. They can do a lot of different things.
Got to be the best all-around receiver that I can be, and I think I'm one of the best in the league.
Touchdown, Champa Bay! Chris Godwin! Touchdown, Champa Bay!
Got him off. Chris Godwin with the most catches in an NFL game this year.
Wow. He's got 15 catches. Just to let you know, he can do it all.
Chris is really shifty. You can think you have him covered, and he gets open and makes the catch. You can think you got him tackled down, and he'll bounce off your first tackle, bounce off your second tackle, and just what Chris does.
Going toward the end zone, and Godwin makes the catch. Touchdown, Champa Bay! Inside the 10, 5, 3, 2, touchdown, Champa Bay! Touchdown, Champa Bay Buccaneers!
This is gonna be cool. Yeah, I feel pretty good right about now. I want to score.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of Sports Talk 49 live and exclusively on NSPN Champa Bay TV. You know who I am, Blake Anthony, with my co-partner, partner in crime, PIC, Mr. Deshun, T-Man, Tisdale, Coach T's 411. Sean, what's going on with you?
Hey, not much. You know what it is, guys. It's a day for, cigars and shades. You know how we do it. When somebody get paid, it's definitely a cigar time. Sit back, kick back, enjoy you one. Get to make sure somebody got the bread, the stacks on deck. You might gotta make a call, get down to the club because everybody gonna show you some love down there when you get paid, get the numbers, and you talking about none other than the running back for the championship, Champa Bay Buccaneers. Look, he came, he did it in the Super Bowl. He showed what he had to do. He was looking for that big payday. Blake, did he get the payday that you think he was looking for? Or we're happy to have him back. Did he get the payday he's looking for? Did he get the payday he deserves?
Well, we'll get into that. I want to show a little quick clip on was that Good Morning Football, and then we'll talk about it, see what they got to say, and we'll see if it adds up to what we got to say. Be right back.
Here on Get Up, running back Leonard Fournette re-signing with the Buccaneers. Here's a tweet from our Adam Schefter. Leonard Fournette spent Monday visiting with the New England Patriots, re-signing with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on a 3-year deal per sources. So this is, again, this Brady goes back and everybody follows, right?
He took his free agent visits, right? He's with the Panthers, the Patriots, but he decided to get the band back together. And the tone out of Tampa since Brady's been back has been, we are focused on getting all of our guys back, all those free agents. They just want to do what we have been saying, which is run it back. And that's really what they're focused on. So this actually makes sense. And I'm sure Leonard Fournette, and we don't know this right now, possibly had better offers out there, but we both know
$7 million
the draw of Tom Brady.
$7 million. He finally got his money because they've been giving him the Walmart rollback discount price. Finally, they give him the money because he's a very vital, important piece. He added catching to his repertoire last year, and I think he deserves to get that money. But not everybody ran it back.
I think it'll be interesting to see the actual money, though, because when you think about, listen, he's visiting New England, okay?
Yeah.
New England had more backs than they knew what to do with. Right. I mean, let's be real on it. So like, what was the deal going to be in New England? Like, if you were competing with New England to sign him, we'll see. Listen.
Well, Deshun, what do you got to say to that?
Hey, I think he's speaking some truth on that. I mean, we're talking about if you're going towards a contender now. Leonard Fournette going to Carolina. Does he replace Christian McCaffrey that they're talking about, trading due to injuries? And they needing that same type of player. People tend to forget, NFL is definitely what have you done for me lately. And in this league, where we talk about, hey, he's alluding to Leonard Fournette, sets up his receiving. He's been a prolific pass catcher since he's been in the league. That's not something new. That's always been in his repertoire. What he was called to do and what he does are two different things. But before he was in Tampa, he caught a lot of passes And that was one of the reasons that BA brought him in, because that's the type of backs that Bruce Arians tends to like. Obviously, that's the new era offense in the NFL, where backs to catch the ball out the backfield. Leonard Fournette is definitely a dynamic player, Blake, and I feel like it's true. He was definitely getting the rollback
that was a good
rollback price, pricing or whatever, because he, when veterans start playing for minimalistic money, it is generally due because of production. Teams can't believe that you can produce. Right now, he's shown that he can produce year in and year out. And to be honest with you, there's no way that we're bringing Ronald Jones back. Now we need something comparable to a Leonard Fournette. Is it on the roster here, or will him getting paid means that not only will he get the lion's share, and he does play a lot of his downs. I respect him so much because he plays so much, Blake, but will it be too much? Is there someone else that can balance out so that playoff Lenny can get to the playoffs?
Yeah, I mean, a lot has been told about, Keyshawn Vaughn. He's been yet to have a chance to really shine. In the times he played, he did make the best of his opportunities. He shows he does have the breakaway speed to get away from people. He had some multiple big plays last year when he got to play. I think they're going to bring in a guy that's not going to cost them much money, and we're talking about a draft pick probably by the name of Isaiah Spiller out of Texas A&M. If you don't know too much about him, Isaiah is a pass-catching back that can do and can play on downs 1 through 4, 1 through 3, whatever you want to say, both running the ball and catching. Now, I will say for sure, my own connections, that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have contacted Zamir White several times this offseason coming into this draft process, running back out of Georgia. Something you should be familiar with being out there in Georgia yourself. But yes, Marcus, they put up a good thing on Leonard Fournette, talking about the Walmart rollback prices. We talked about that off air a little bit. He kind of ruined that for himself by his outing in Jacksonville. Kind of pick him out the vocabulary of double-digit $1 million money. He'll get under that, or they didn't say though that it was $24 million could be in incentives. That's the one thing they didn't add in that broadcast. There's $24 million incentives, so he does have the opportunity to make some more money. Granted, if the Buccaneers decide to run the ball more, which me and you have advocated several times, instead of always want to be an aerial team. I know you got Tom Brady, but sometimes Tom Brady needs a break and needs to take some of the pressure out. And when you play teams like the New Orleans Saints and the Los Angeles Rams, teams that gives them the problems with, when you don't run the ball. What else do you see out of this whole signing?
I mean, listen, I think when we start talking about when you break it down to the fact of, hey, he went to the Carolina Panthers and he went to the New England Patriots. New England Patriots are not really looking for a running back right now. I don't know why he would go there. That's, to me, not a landing spot for him. Yes, they may have some cap numbers that they could work with, but with the number of backs that are on the roster, and there's no real trade, they would just be.
Rondé Stevenson is the same back as him. Stevenson that they got out of I can't think of the college, but he's the same back. Oklahoma, the same back.
I don't see, and this is what I'm saying. I don't really see that. And the deal is, when you get to Leonard Fournette, you do have some time on the tires, but he's kind of that race car that we already know about, and we know what it can do. We can put him in good situations, and as long as he's running good today, he's going to run good. He did have some times in the season where he disappeared and where the running game wasn't evident because he wasn't able to pull it out. His size does help him. His girth does help him from a standpoint of defenders in the second quarter, third quarter, when he starts coming downhill and he's been pounding on you all game, that does make a difference. Another year older, we're talking about a running back that he's going to be another year older now. And the NFL, it just, Father Time is just undefeated in its NFL. And I don't know who Tom Brady sold his soul to, but it may just be the vegan lifestyle. Shout out to all my vegans out there, and it may be all the oat milk and everything else
works.
Whatever works. Because I can only think, here in Atlanta, we got the Slutty Vegan. Shout out to them. I mean, it's delicious when I go over there. The line's always around the corner. But I just know that Lenny has this opportunity here. It's the biggest and best place for him. I think he could have made it other places. However, I thought maybe like Arizona Cardinals. I thought maybe I didn't think Green Bay. Obviously, Green Bay has a kid from Boston that came out and played really good. I thought there was a couple of other places that Lenny probably could have went. To me, I would like to see him somewhere as a cold weather back, because I think that's where he would kind of feel like the Bears, if you will. He would that nostalgia of that his running style on a Bears team. But once again, that only works when you actually have a line and a quarterback that can make teams not stack the box. Leonard Fournette wasn't great when you could stack the box. That's just what it is. And defenses are just going to be, prepared for it. Like you alluded to, Tom Brady does need that break. He does need a pass catching back. He's shown already he does extremely well. I'll be surprised to see what Tampa can do with bringing back Leonard Fournette. I think the contract is actually, I won't say it's necessarily friendly, but I think it's a team-friendly deal for the most part. What do you take on that contract?
Well, yeah, let's take a look at it since I got it pull up right here on the compliments of Spot Rack, where you can find all your stuff. His agent, he's actually with Rock Nation Sports. Did not know that. The Rock, baby. Holla.
The Rock's in here.
The Rock's in here.
Shout out to Jay.
Like you said, Leonard Fournette is 27 years old, 5 years in the league. It seems forever, right?
Forever.
All right, so his contract currently is 3 years, $21 million. Average salary is $7 million. And like I said earlier, there's $24 million in incentives. It's not marking in here, but I'm telling you as a fact, it's $24 million in incentives.
And he's going to get some incentive. If it's a number of pass catches that are incentive breaks, he's going to get that. Yeah. If it's all-purpose yards, I'm pretty sure from an agent perspective, I could only see, and obviously we got friend of the show, Ron Butler from Agency One Sports Group. So we can talk to him one time whenever we do talk to him about how these agents set it up. But we can tell you right now that any agent that's going to be setting Leonard Fournette up is going to make a deal where, yes, you can pay him this set amount, but already knowing how the Tampa Bay Buccaneers use him, that, hey, it's going to be a pass catch incentive. It's going to be a yards from scrimmage incentive there, something of that nature that will allow him to basically play the way that he plays and get extra money for it. I could only see that. What do you say, Blake?
Yeah, absolutely. I think his name is his agent. Her name is Kimberly. She's one of the top agents out there now. She's securing the bag for Leonard Fournette. She definitely secured the bag. I'm sure it's not the bag, or maybe it was let's play devil's advocate a little bit here. Maybe the $12.5 million Leonard Fournette was asking for was leverage. You say, hey, I want $12.5 million, knowing you possibly might not get $12.5 million. You post all that, your worth thing, blah, blah, blah. They're like, oh, we can't give you 12.5, but we can give you 10.
Yeah.
Or we can give you 9.
Well, maybe is he a 12? Like, I get it. I'm with him when he says he's going to know his worth and he feels like he's top 5, but I felt like he's probably in the top 10 from a production standpoint. But some of that also goes into the team that you play for. People love to discount that. I mean, it helps when you have arguably one of the best right tackles in the game. When you have 2 or 3 Pro Bowlers on your offensive line, that helps. I mean, that's a running back's best friend. When you have, arguably 3 of the better tight ends and probably one of the better run blocking tight ends that will go down in history, and Gronkowski out here blocking for you when you are making runs, and we're in all types of double tight sets and triple tight ends. We even bring in extra linemen on the field, things of that nature. I mean, he's in a absolute produce situation, and he was able to produce. Obviously, we had Ronald Jones, and it did not work out or pan out how some people would love for it to pan out for Rojo. And that's just the way the cookie crumbles, unfortunately, in the NFL. The first place that you land is not always the best place. Similar to college players right now, as they land somewhere and they got to hit the portal because it didn't work out. The scheme wasn't the greatest fit, or it just didn't pan out. Some other people may hit the ground running, whether it's playbook or whatever. And sometimes it's just a gel. And I remember when somebody was up in Foxborough, and that whole Gillette field, that gel, right? That we're talking about. Sometimes you need that gel razor if you want to get a smooth one. And I don't mean to give out the free ones because this marketing is we're definitely sponsored here by Guerrilla Marketing and also mycannabiscard.com. So if you need you're in the local area and you need to get that My Cannabis card, of course, it's going to be coming to the Atlanta area soon once that gets legalized over here as well. But if you need that, then by all means, you need your judgment-free marijuana card. My Cannabis card right now is flowing down there at the bottom. I mean, we just need to make that happen, right? So a big picture is, hey, we're having a great situation with bringing these players back. A lot of players are jumping on, but is it the best thing for the team financially? Leonard Fournette's move is a great move. We solidify a running back. We're going to probably pick up a younger running back and one more that's already in the stable. That's a win-win.
Definitely. Offense has been secured. Tom Brady has gotten everything he wanted on this offense. And let me put this out there. Jason Light needs some MF and credit. A lot of people have been crapping on Jason Light for that one bad draft pick with the Vernon Hargraves and those guys on there and the kicker and all that. But otherwise than that, he is made up with off-season acquisitions from JPP to go ahead, Deshun, if you got to step off for a minute. From JPP to put up the single, drop him out, put the single shot here. From JPP to now, the offensive lineman just picked up Shaq Mason, Shaquille Olajuwon Mason, crazy name, right? From just the moves he's made. He found a way to bring back Fournette. Russell Gage he added. Just keeps finding ways, and now they come up into this offseason to see what else he'll bring, what undrafted free agents can come here and make an addition to this game. And it keeps on. You keep building within your stable. You keep building players within your own wheelhouse. So you have to keep reaching out to other entities and all that, and paying an arm and a leg to bring people here. You making your own homegrown guys here, and that's the system people have been waiting for a long time here in Tampa Bay. And now that you have that chance to do that, shout out to him. It's just he's done so much for this team year after year, from the coaching staff on down. You even have a coaching branch here now. So if you got guys, if Arians wants to retire, you got people out that could step in and do that now. You got guys that are familiar with the system. You've finally built a culture here after so long of misery. You got a system here. You got coaches that could step in at any moment and know what's going on. You got players that could step in at any moment and make plays. The only part that I'll get back on with Deshun about when he's got a phone call he's got to take. The defense needs to be addressed. The offense has been addressed from wide receiver to running back. Only part that ain't been touched. We all know Rob Gronkowski's going to be come back. We posted it there of the barbershop photo of Rob liking to step away for a minute and then come back. So a tight end position's got to be addressed. And there's multiple tight ends that could make a difference in this offense, even when Rob Gronkowski moves on. We'll try to get Deshun back on here. If y'all give me a second, I think he's ready. Bring him in. There you go.
Hey, I want to jump right in here with those tight ends in that situation that you're talking about. Listen, you got Rob, and you figure Rob is one of the better tight ends that's out there. He did show me that his readiness I have issues with at times. They said that, hey, he really didn't do the offseason workout coming out of the pandemic. He just sweated one day and just changed shirts and things like that. That sounds like the kind of shenanigans that we've seen him do, or be about over time. And unfortunately, it usually rears its head in a season because he doesn't look like a consummate professional, like he's ready. It always takes him several games to get in game mode. Right. And then, unfortunately, in that time, he's using his hulking body. But players that are been ready, they ain't got to get ready, and they're on him. And he usually winds up getting some type of an injury, and then he's plagued by that. Now, he's a tough guy. Take nothing away from him. He's always seemed to be playing through multiple injuries. But this tight end room is a little bit different now with O.J. Howard being gone off to the Bills. But I feel like there was what was it with the M? Was it McElroy or
McElroy? Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, McElroy. I feel like he'll be back. Tampa's actually had a lot of tight ends that could have progressed here. We took so much with Hudson. I feel like we shouldn't have got let him slide. But that whole kind of waiting to see where OJ Howard was really gonna pan out. It's just one of those things that we've seen over the time. I mean, and this is not uncanny for Tampa. We had that with another tight end, a historical tight end, of the junior name of coming and
Kellen Winslow.
What was that like?
You talking about Kellen Winslow?
Yeah, with Winslow, and then he went on to God forbid the. Oh my gosh,
I didn't want to get into that.
Yeah, let's not get into that. But let's say he's in the vicinity of the senior homes. You know what I'm saying?
And then we'll talk past him. They can't. They can't stay out of legal trouble. Another one who could have been a beast in this league, named ASJ Austin Safarian Jenkins, couldn't put the alcohol bottle down. A guy. There's so much about that roster of that team from Josh Freeman on down. Those guys.
But I think Josh had the bad rap. To me, Greg Schiano threw him under the bus. No one knew he had his issues, and this is the time of day right now. In that time, it was much of a kibosh. But I feel like since the pandemic came, there's been so many people around getting so much help for mental health issues and all kinds of issues since the pandemic. I mean, we live in the real world here, guys. You're here, you get your sports kick with us, and we're on all these different social media sites, whether you get us on Instagram, you get us on Facebook Live, you get us on Twitter. You can follow all of the voices and the people that are on here on all these social media platforms. But you have to understand we're real people, and we understand that you guys are real people out there too. And not only do you have real issues going on when we have a pandemic, you also have real mental issues and things that you have to deal with and circumstances you have to deal with. So I'm not knocking these guys that they have stuff going on, Blake. I just know that there's windows in the NFL where, hey, they're not addressing this stuff. And now when we talk about with BA and Antonio Brown, everyone's he must have mental. Well, when it was Josh Freeman, they kind of threw him under the bus. I'm like, dude, this dude was having his issues. He was getting it taken care of. No one knew about it. Greg Schiano threw him out there and basically kind of made him the villain. And sometimes you have to watch what's happening, because when we're watching the magic trick, you're told to look over here, but the magic's happening on the other side, and it's like,
Wizard of Oz, don't pay that man behind the curtain any.
The magic's happening on the other side. So you got to understand that, hey, I realize there's going to be some mental health issues. They're going to have things that are going to happen, but we look at a team like Tampa, and you say, hey, they've had a lot of stars. Stars don't pan out on every team all the time. There's many players that are going to go on and do great things. A lot of these are young men. They might not touch this amount of money before that they're touching in the NFL. Right. It's for most of them, it's going to be more money than their families seen in general.
Their generations.
Yeah, in generations. So it's a generational wealth thing. And I've watched, I think it was like the barber show that LeBron was on. They were talking like barbershop style or whatever. And it's like, dude, I watched the dude from Miami Dolphins. He's like, hey, he got drafted by the Dolphins. Whole family moves to Florida. But that's on him now. You know what I'm saying? Right. Like, hey, you got to cover everybody. You know what I'm saying? You got to cover sister, her baby daddy, mama's house. It becomes.
And that's why the statistic is 80% of African-American athletes go broke because for some reason it's that mentality that they have to take care of everybody.
And it's like you can't make it out. And you got to understand that, hey, if you can't make it out, the situation, then it's going to be a big deal. I mean, right now, once again, you're right here, NSPN Sports with Blake Anthony and Deshun Tisdale, Coach T. So just understand when we come out right now, we're talking to you about what's going on in the real situations. And right now, this real situation in Tampa is the fact that they're looking to run it back. Didn't happen this season for them. But Blake, when we start seeing these chips fall and everything start to fall in line, and I think Tom Brady, what he did was he made Deshaun Watson say, oh, shoot, I ain't going to Atlanta.
Nope.
And I'm going to tell you, let's take the shades off this. All we got in Atlanta right now is them damn lemon pepper wings.
The Lou Williams wings.
We got the Lou Williams wings.
Oh, man. Lord of mercy.
Oh, man. You got the lemon pepper wings. Now, listen, if you want Jeezy to pull up, if you want an ATL, shorty, you know what I'm saying? You want Slime Team, you want all that. We got that in the A. You know what I'm saying? We got some bad ones from here to there. We got all of that. You know what I'm saying? And I'm going to tell you, Gwinnett is not Atlanta. College Park is not Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? But look, I'm gonna tell you this: Macon is not Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? But understand, we got a lot of stuff in Georgia, but we don't have right now is Deshaun Watson, and we don't have a Matt Ryan. And to me, what that did was all of these moves this week, Blake, just kind of made Tampa look like, how could they not come out the NFC South?
Well, we talking about all these moves on offense. I was talking while you had to take a phone call. They've made no move. Well, they picked up moves in the secondary. Mm-hmm. But the most important thing on any football team is the defensive line. You lost 5 linemen on the defensive front. You have no depth. So what are we going to roll with? Shaq Barrett, Anthony Nelson, and Cam Gill, and Joe Tryon. That's what they're going to roll with coming into 2022 season. I mean, are they that confident with that? And then your interior guys, you lost Gholston, you lost Sue. There was really on McClendon, there was no depth behind them really. So what are we rolling there? That there is such a huge hole in that defensive line. It is not funny.
It's a big hole on that line right now, and I'm wondering whether or not we can really fill that hole, because, like you said, I know that we had the other young man from Washington there, Benny Patel, that had played with
Vita Vea.
That had played with Vita. I'm pretty sure they probably won't want to bring O'Connor back because he's going to be getting a veteran minimum, and I feel like that's not what they want to pay him. Veteran minimum numbers. So he's not that. You got Gholston. I don't know that Gholston's anywhere, but he's not signed right now to us as of yet. There's players out here, and I know we always, obviously it's a Tampa thing. We're always going to kick the can on Gerald McCoy. But when you start looking at it and you say, hey, I got $20 million tied up in Ndamukong Suh and Jason Pierre-Paul, and the rest of the line, I need rotation. So what would be best for you? You could bring in a rookie. You draft a rookie that's going to be a player, maybe the young man out of Georgia.
You're going to have to trade up to get him.
Just for example, for giggles, right? Mm-hmm. If we can't, you either going for a player that's going to fit skill or build. That's the way I'm gonna say it. It's either going to fit skill or they're going to fit build. And the build that we need is a big hulking. We didn't take McClendon because he's a phenomenal pass rusher. We took him because he's physical stature. He's a run stuffer. Mm-hmm. He's a run stuffer supreme. He's like stuffed crust on a sandwich on a pizza, because he's going to stop up and he's going to allow what we do have that are very top tier, which is our linebackers, to run free. You're going to need to double team Vita. You're going to need to double team the next player. That other person can run free. Shaq Barrett can get free. Jason Pierre-Paul. A lot of one-on-ones. You look at that playoff game and you wonder, what the offense did, whatever. I saw JPP out there a lot, getting a lot of one-on-one, could not be a backup tackle. Now, you guys don't argue me and say, hey, he was injured.
That's your point. We have nothing else to go behind him. That's proof that if they say that's proven the point that you and I have said for the past 2 years. What is your depth behind the starters? God bless Jason Pierre-Paul trying to play with a busted hand, a broke neck, a broke back, whatever, with all the stuff that he had going on, the knee he had all year.
My neck and my back. You need to back you out of me.
and there's nobody else that can produce. So you have to play out there with a 60% player, because the guys behind them ain't worth 30 cents.
And listen, it's not going to be long when a team, in all respect due to Jason Pierre-Paul, we just have
this ain't a slap. This is
I know he's a top tier player when he's 100%. The issue is, and the problem is that he's not 100% and he can't get healthy. But if you got to run him out here when he's not even 100%, that says more about the players that are behind him than. And it was almost like, I saw a lot from Joe Tryon-Shoyinka early. I saw the athleticism. I saw some of the quick speed pass rush. He doesn't have a lot of tricks in his stable, if you will, at this point. I think it was great first season for him to be able to be around so many veterans and to get what the work ethic should be, what the mental mindset should be. That and what Jason Pierre-Paul, and I respect what he brought to Tampa, because a lot of people will not really talk about the locker room and what Jason Pierre-Paul brought to Tampa from a mentality standpoint. Yep. It was different than when Gerald McCoy was there. The mentality of Tampa with Ndamukong Suh, Jason Pierre-Paul is basically F you, pay me, you know, and it's very much I'll punch you in your mouth. It was not, oh, Mr. Roethlisberger, sir, sorry for, you know, it was not that. It was, we're the defense. We're going to kick your behind, and that's it. And guess what? Unfortunately, that's what defenses need to be in this league to succeed. And the depth, we have to find that better. I mean, I feel like Jason Light can bring a lot of players. They've done amazing things with the cap room and just picking up players. But I think that you have a finite limit of when you can play these tricks with cap. What we see right now in the NFC South is you've seen the chickens come home to roost in Atlanta. All that Julio stuff and all that caused them to lose Julio. They sold the farm for this one player, sold all those draft picks that they would have gotten. That caused them to have to re-sign Matt Ryan and kind of kick the ball down the road on his contract. And once you get these contracts so far leveraged, there's no getting out of it, you know. And to be honest with you, whether we can see it or not right now, sometimes you can't see the forest for the trees. Right now, we've done the exact same thing with Mike Evans. You know, Mike Evans is already retiring a Buccaneer at this point.
Yeah.
His contract is so heavy. He can keep doing us a favor because it's really just job security for him.
And let me be clear on something like that, because everybody's like, yeah, they're taking pay cuts. Let me stab it. They're not taking no damn pay cuts. They're moving the money so you can have money. How it affects the cap this season. Nobody's taking. You ain't taking no damn pay cut to bring somebody else in. So what you think Mike Evans for? Oh, they make millions of dollars. And
he making millions for his family and his 2 little girls or 3 little girls. He ain't making it for somebody else. And what's happening right now, Blake, like you said, is all he did was move it down the road. And what the teams are doing is the team is hoping that the CBAs and the NFL agreement will make the cap room so much that they can give some of those players that money back and they won't be brought in. But historically, right now, we've seen that hasn't hit a number, because every time that the cap room goes up, here's what happens, everybody in Fanland. Every time that cap room goes up, more and more people decide that, hey, I need more of it. I'm on this team. I'm valuable. So you get some, I get some, he gets some. Mike still owed his money. Mike still got to get his money.
Yeah.
He's still owed. Mike like, yo, where mine at? I still got to get mine, baby. So what happens is when they start shelling out, it's not enough to go around. Right. Every time they come out with the new CBA, and we talked to Ron about it too. Every agent is like, hey, how can we squeeze more of that out? Because the more the player gets, the more the agent gets. So of course, you know, they're going to be battling for it. Who's the number one or the highest paid player on the team in most cases? It's generally the quarterback. So, okay, look at Tampa right now. We already know we pay a set amount for Tom Brady.
And let me jump into that before you kill it, before you go into your thing. The crazy part that these young bucks don't realize, Tom Brady is the MF and greatest quarterback ever. That debate is dead. This ain't a LeBron James, Michael Jordan conversation. That shit is dead. So with that being said, he's not the highest paid quarterback in this league.
No.
Think that he's not taking an exorbitant amount of loss. He's not hurting financially. He's good. I said, but he's making enough money so they could secure the bag on the rest of the roster. Think, younger quarterbacks. You bitching about, I'm sorry, I had to. You're complaining about you don't have enough players. Aaron Rodgers, I'm looking at you. You're complaining about all this stuff that they can't get additions to, but you want $50 million per year. Dumb. Know what numbers look like. Learn what math is. Not just the math on your end, the math about the entire teams. So I'm not mad at you for trying to get your money. I just don't want to hear it when you don't have the stars to help you win championships. So obviously you're more concerned with making more money, which I'm not mad at, than winning championships, because you can't have both.
You don't get both. Listen, Blake said it perfectly. I was listening to a radio station here in Atlanta, and they were talking when the trade stuff just came down. And, the day before, I mean, I'm going to tell you the whirlwind that we were listening to here in Georgia. It was just like, oh, we're going to get Deshaun Watson, and he's coming back home, and oh my gosh, and everybody was ecstatic. Gainesville High School, It's
a promo thing.
He's coming, right? He's
from
coming.
Georgia.
Then next thing, right from Gainesville High School.
Yeah.
And the next thing you hear, it's like, oh shoot,
womp, womp,
with Cleveland. And it's womp, womp, womp. Because guess what? I was already saying this, and we talked about this off air. I said I did not believe Matt Ryan was going anywhere. Well, what happened was they actually screwed their own self over. So they broadcasted and made themselves a big runner in this, but they did not secure the bag in this situation. They did not secure the bag. So what happened is it was very embarrassing for them to say, oh, shoot, Deshaun Watson chose somebody else. You asked the wrong person to the prom. He didn't choose you. So you asked the wrong person, and you know what happened? Now you're going stag. You're going by yourself. Now you had to pick up the 3 a.m. rule was in effect. The 3 a.m. rule was in effect. If you don't know what the 3 a.m. rule
beer
means,
goggles.
At any time, it's 3 a.m. We leaving from the club, and you don't got nothing on your arm yet. You gotta look around in the club. Whoever ain't got nobody.
Yeah.
And listen, if the person just happened to be, a little bit, what I'm saying, they got a little extra stuff in with them. They never cold or anything like that. You got to take one. If they're a little bit tall, if they're too short, whatever it is, there's a reason that they're still solo at 3 a.m. and they're not a red solo cup. They just solo. And you got to pick up whatever you can pick up at that time because it's limited. So when I see Atlanta go from Matt Ryan, who's not a bad quarterback, has never been a bad quarterback, it's just been caught in a situation where there's not been a team put around him, offensive coordinators that haven't been able to take advantage of the window that they're given. Listen, at the time that Atlanta should have been all chips on the table, all in, was exactly when they got defeated by Tom Brady. When they went to that Super Bowl, they needed to come back and double and triple down. They needed to sell the farm then because you see it right here in Tampa. You see it, Blake. You know how important it is to get back to get to the Super Bowl itself for the town, for the city, for the fan base, just for the energy around the program and the organization itself. It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
And I granted it does help to bring in the Tom Brady. You know what I'm saying? It can help to bring in
Tom Brady effect is definitely real.
It's the effect is real. But
even the Tampa Bay Lightning, with the two big trades that they've done. Everybody knows I'm good friends with Sonia Bradson-Kersey, the lady that's been singing for them for years.
Mm-hmm.
She gives me tickets to the game. We talk all the time. She's like an auntie to me. That is electrifying. The players say, "Hey, man, I love what's going on with Tom Brady. They're making all these moves. They're all in. They're back-to-back two-time champions, going for 3, and they're playing like they ain't won one. That's the effect.
Most important thing because you got this energy. You got this energy. Remember, when we're talking about, and this is historical in NFL, I don't care if you're talking about the old school Steelers going back-to-back and being in championships back-to-back, even if you're talking about the Buffalo Bills and when they were in the 90s and they were doing it, and you had the K-Gun offense, Thurman Thomas, Reed, you had Cornelius Bennett, you had Darryl Talley, Bruce Smith, and all those guys, and Don Beebe.
The GM was a beast with them draft picks.
You went ahead and listen, teams, even Kansas City, we look at them, but the core Kansas City built in the draft. Remember, you had Kareem Hunt, you had Mahomes, you got Kelsey, all in the draft. You know what I'm saying? Now you have a core. You can do something when you have that core. If you look at that Rams team, you had Gurley, you got a quarterback in the draft. You're doing it. You get a core in place. When you get this core in place, then now you have to make the strategic moves.
Yep.
And right now, Jason Light has made such a strategic move overall across the board since he's been in play. He by far over the last, because we went through some GMs. I think probably the best move that I saw Mark Dominic make was probably the Garrett Blunt or something. Just, you know what I'm saying? Because but overall, you look at what this team is, and then I'm starting to wonder how their scouting is, because I haven't seen, aside from the picks, I haven't seen the players mature. We have a coaching staff that should be able to grow players and mature players and let you have that natural maturation process to becoming a great player. But what happens, Blake, with the draft picks that we have? When we start going over how many draft picks are on our team still, how many of them come out or pan out to be players? Alex Kappa, I don't know if it's finally finalized right now, but Alex Kappa, we lose, that's a draft pick, right?
Yep.
Marquette retires. That was a draft pick.
Yeah.
So those are great. But how many others are we picking up here?
Jack Mason, fifth round draft pick, a proven guard.
Proven starter in the league.
5th round draft pick. Then you get Russell Gage for free. Well, not for free. You don't have to give up draft picks.
Yeah.
You bring back Carlton Davis. Carlton Davis said himself, Tom Brady returning had something to do with that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure Leonard Fournette, Chris Godwin. I know that they all said that it played an effect. You get Brashard Perriman back on a longer term. I said, I don't know if you saw much of what I said on Twitter all week before anybody signed, that this team needs to change their dynamic of their team. And what I mean by dynamic is you have to add speed complex to this offense. You cannot have 3, 4, 5 receivers with the same damn skill set. Now, I'm not saying they're good. You got to have difference, because when you play different teams with matchups, Saints and the Rams, guys like them with big physical corners, and most importantly, the pass rush, they won't press you if you have guys like Tyreek Hill that can fly by them. Now they got to play coverage different.
Yeah, they have to.
When you got guys, Tyler Johnson, Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, all have the same skill set. They're not burners. They're big physical receivers that can get open. They do not possess the speed. They did not possess the speed category in that. And so now that you brought back Perryman, which is a burner, you kept Cyril Grayson, he's a burner. Now you brought in Russell Gage, he's a burner. You brought in all these guys, like you've changed the complexity of the offense. Can you do that at running back as well?
Yeah.
So, and what I'm thinking on defense, you need to try to change that up as well. You need to start adding guys that bring a different flavor to your team, because you saw in situations it's hurting you not having that.
Yeah.
Now you have a chance to fix that.
Well, let's talk about that defensively, because that seems to be one of the issues to me, especially with this defensive front. There's a lot of times, and I know we re-signed Nacho, and it's not a knock on Nacho, so to speak. It's just the fact that I just think that there are so many other positions on this defensive line that when you work with a Todd Bowles defensively, he's a type of coach that likes multifaceted players. So we look at Benning Pateo, for example. Yes, he's not a starter for us. Right. Connor's not a starter, but Benning is a combination of a defensive tackle, and he can be a defensive end. Right. I feel like Nelson is that same type of combination. He's a hand in the dirt guy. He's not really which you can chunk him down. You can have him be a versatile player on this team because from a contract fit, he fits. A scheme, he fits. I feel Will Gholston is that as well. But as you get to this point, you get to a point where you're going to need someone to match next to Vita Vea that is comparable. And the reason you have to have that is because you can't allow the double team. You have to still require the double team on Vita Vea or the triple team. And that means the other players are going to get some single coverages, and they need to have a plethora of skills and a skill set. You can't just be an outside rusher with only a speed rush or only a bull rush. That will not work. And if you're laboring or you're injured or any of those things, it's just not going to pan out for the team. So I'm looking for Tampa to make some type of move, because I feel like reinforcements are needed there. Great that we have Carlton Davis back. I feel like he was definitely a top 5 corner in this league this year. And he's continued to play much better. I don't feel like he's been as penalized this year, right? Jamel Dean got a lot more penalties this year. Dean and Carlton Davis, just secondary, just overall beat up. That's not going to happen every year, even though we felt like this was going to be a phenomenal secondary when everything was put together. It's not going to happen this year. I would have loved to have Whitehead back. I think he's been a phenomenal player, absolute ball hawk. People like to tie Tyrann Mathieu, the Honey Badger, to Tampa. I just think that financially, the reason that he's not here because his number is just at a number that's not just won't work out. For us. I mean, he's at too much of a high number. His worth for that fact may not hit that number from a scheme fit. Can we use him? And is he still that? We get caught a lot of times. I mean, this is a league that we had a player make the Pro Bowl that didn't even play in that season, and make the Pro Bowl. So you have to understand that sometimes our fandom will put players at a mark that they're not really at. Right. And that becomes a major, when we start looking at teams and deciding who we can or can't have. This Tampa Bay team, to me, Blake, needs defensive help. Where do we get it, Blake?
At this point, I don't know where you're going to get that. And we're talking about the defensive front. I don't know where you're going to get that right now as far as the defensive front goes. Plus, at a wage you can get. The names out there are Jadeveon Clowney. Not sure, he's always been a guy who wants more money, and he really hasn't played up. Jadeveon Clowney hasn't dominated anything in this league. He's been top 5.
His biggest hit is still that South Carolina hit.
Yeah, that's
his
the
biggest
thing
hit of his life.
That's the thing you'll remember him for all times, and that wasn't even in the NFL. Guy I would personally like to see here. There's a couple guys I would like to see here. Their names are Akeem Hicks, big defensive tackle, came out of Chicago, and a Florida favorite, Calais Campbell. I would like to see out here. Calais is 35 years of age. Says he does not want to retire. Was with the Ravens for a while. Not stellar in pass rushing, but a run disruptor. He's just big and can get his hands on balls a lot.
Yeah.
A name I've heard. Justin Houston, that could come out here. A veteran edge rusher that shouldn't cost you a lot. Jerry Hughes still has a lot left in the tank. You can get a young stud that the Eagles let go, and Derek Barnett that played really well in college and won a Super Bowl with the Eagles. And, it's not a lot out there. So what you're left with is then you got to go to the draft class, which I would like to see the Bucs get is a Jordan Davis who could pass rush and run stuff. Not sure if he's going to be there at pick 27. I think that's what the Bucs at. Then you can go to Trayvon Walker, which was also on Georgia. And then you got Devontae Watt, who's also out of Georgia, all defensive linemen coming out of there. I'm sure there's a lot of other guys that you can go with. But then you got to talk about edge.
Well, let me ask you this. Let me stop you right there. Do you see with Tampa making this move for the guard from the Patriots and giving up that 5th? Can you see them then trading out of 27? We've seen Jason Light do that previously. Can you see them basically trading back, maybe down to a 32 just to pick up a 5th or 6th round pick, an additional pick that could potentially, for this team's needs, provide them with maybe another lineman, another defensive lineman help at a rookie salary? That could definitely be a scheme fit. There is scheme fits out there, Blake. I mean, we're talking about the team that Tampa runs. They're running this 3-4 defense. There's a lot of players that are coming out that fit this team. Yep. And when we talk about a Calais Campbell, it's not that I'm saying we can't get one, Blake, but to me, him and McClendon is a trade-off from a numbers standpoint.
Right.
But I think that they need to cut the defensive line payroll when you have Ndamukong Suh making $10 million and you have Jason PP making $10 million. It's the payroll that has to get cut. You have McClendon making a veteran minimum this year. So it's not that they can't get players. So I think we're set. Tell me what type of combination do you see that may be needed with what we already have on roster? And remember, just because we have things on roster doesn't mean that the team or the coaches may believe that those players are ready. So I could definitely say I'm thinking at least 2 to 3 rookies on that defensive rotation, maybe 1 edge rusher or 2 if there's a hybrid player. But I feel like 2 interior, kind of more interior linemen, and then 1 edge rusher at least. What's your take on how they could financially secure a better defensive front here? What can we do moving forward with what we have and what we should be going for?
One guy I would like to see that's currently on the Buccaneer roster, and of course he's with Agency One Sports Group. I've mentioned a couple of times, but people don't know who he is. A former Cincinnati Bearcat, which you saw what kind of season they had this year, Cincinnati Bearcat. So he comes from that caliber of football, competitive team who they could have been. They were in the playoffs this year, the Bearcats. Elijah Ponder, a hand in the dirt guy, which changed over to a stand-up pass rusher. I want to see what Elijah Ponder's got coming into this next season because he is that hybrid player that can play in the dirt and edge rush. That's one option if he progresses. Okay. Again, we talked about Jordan Davis could play. He could play multiple spots on that line. You got pass rushers from Michigan, Penn State. There's a lot of guys. It's just where are they going to fall? If you really want the stud guy, you might have to move up and go get him. If the Bucs feel that's their guy and he's going to help their team, then by all means get it, because you're at the point right now where they could take the best available player. They're at that point in this draft. Yeah. A guy that I interviewed here recently, I know you saw it, Joshua Williams out of my hometown in Fayetteville State, HBCU College. He's been contacted by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They could go another young movement in the secondary if he goes later rounds, or if he goes undrafted. I think he gets picked up. He just got to pick his 40 time up. He said his legs were rough that day. I mean, there's multiple ways to go. I just think they could pick up the best players right now, and they could do whatever is necessary. If they got to give up picks next year to secure another one this year. But to answer your question, yes, I think they need to go 1-1, one outside, one inside, depending on if they believe on the guys that they have on the edge right now, and just go 2 interior.
Yeah. I mean, so as far as Ponder goes, he's someone that was on the roster, then on practice squad, then they cut him from practice squad, then they bring him back. I actually was surprised. I mean, his work ethic, prototypically, he seemed a little bit undersized, and this is just from the program he's coming from. But obviously, he showed you the ability and versatility that he had, and it's not that he couldn't really put his hand in the dirt. Remember, he came from having his hand down and going against these other linemen, so it is something that he could potentially do. It's not prototypical, but it is something that he could do. I felt like he was a tough player, and to see him get out there on special teams in some games and really run down there and show that he was a wrecking ball on that side too, was definitely major for me. I would like to see Tampa do something in that nature, like keep someone that's already in the wheelhouse, that already has, that scheme fit or understanding what we do on defense is not so much of a big task, if you will. And I would love to see Tampa do something like secure a corner that doesn't have to come in and start. So you bring a young man out of your local hometown, and you say, hey, he's a big corner with
6'3".
Bowles likes. That's the type of corner that he likes.
And guess who's coaching out in Tampa now? Richard Sherman.
Woo. And who else? When you talk about big corners and you're going to run big corner sets, you're going to put them in the best situations for their body and their skill set. And that, to me, becomes a win-win overall, because I see that these players, like a Richard Sherman, which is a very high IQ player, they're going to do stuff and put people in situations. And I think for a young player to not be rushed onto the field, but to be able to come in and just sit behind and learn from very top tier talent and see how the scheme needs to be that's a good situation for a corner to come into. Not to mention,
and don't forget to mention that the addition you just added, 2-time Super Bowl champ Logan Ryan, you just added to the roster as well.
Yeah, this is another piece. So I feel like the secondary, and for what Whitehead did, it's great. Never take anything away from him. Phenomenal player. I definitely felt like we need depth. I didn't like our secondary depth that was exposed this year with the injury bug. You don't know what the position will be next year that gets exposed. From year to year, it's different positions. But for me, in the team that we know that's panning out on paper at this point, the problem becomes that defensive line front. I think in secondary, we could pick up one in the secondary, and the one in the secondary, to me, doesn't have to be a starter. It needs to be a scheme fit, and that's for if someone goes down, or just kind of setting them for next year, because the fact of the matter is we may not be able to bring back Jamel Dean and Sean Murphy-Bunting.
Yep. Got to think about that.
You have to put that ahead. You don't want to put the cart before the horse here, like, people say, but we do. This is a team where if you're one and done, no problem. You just got here and you're not a Tampa fan, no problem. You're just here for the moment. That won't make a difference for you. But if you've been here and you got your stripes and you got your parrot patch and your pirate patch and everything else, and you know what it is to stand at the edge of the plank and want to jump off,
off the plank,
then you fully know that, hey, we need to consistently be loading those stocks and filling those galleys. And the only way we're going to be able to do that is to constantly have players that are churning back here on our sideline, just chomping at the bit, waiting for their opportunity. And there's nothing like an opportunity, just like now. If you got something right now, you know what it is. It's me, Deshun Tisdale, here with Blake Anthony, and this is Sports Talk 49 right here on NSPN. Hey, guys, if you got a company, a business, you want us to shout you out, get with us, Guerrilla Marketing, and we can go ahead and make sure we get the shout outs, tell everybody about you. Because, I mean, if I'm hungry right now and I'm thinking about where I could go, I'm going to be like, man, I wish a chef could come to my house and drop off. I'm going to just make the call. I'm going to make the call, and you know what's going to happen? The chef going to pull up on me, You're going to pull up on me.
And that's the thing. You get the fresh meal made right there. You don't get it cold and soggy when you get it to the house. You get it right there prayed, and that's Chef to You on both Android and Apple iOS. So check that out. You'll see the ad in the commercials at the beginning and the end.
You know what it is, man. Chef to You. So if you need the chef to be up in that kitchen chefing it up, get it. Because listen, that floor dash, when your fries hit that floor and they put them back in that bag. Yeah, I know them fries is cold, bro. You ain't telling me you got some fries from the Arches and they good when they get to your house 20 minutes later, bro. They only drive through good. That's it. You know what I'm saying? They only drive through good.
Listen, well, Deshun, we're right at an hour. It doesn't even seem like that time flew by. What's your final thoughts on the day, Leonard Fournette, or any of the things that we talked about today?
Man, the Champa Bay team, they could be bringing the boys back together, man. I mean, it puts me back. I'm gonna date myself with this, but you know, when I was a kid, I would have some days where I'd be home and I watch Hey Hey with the Monkeys, and I just think that right now, man, this Champa Bay team is really trying to put the band back together, man. And all I can see is things are coming together for them slowly but surely. We really would have to see what this team does defensively. I'm not worried about them offensively.
Nope,
I'm more so worried about that defensive front. If you know anything about football, you know it starts and it ends up front. Yep. And for this Champa Bay Buccaneers team, it's definitely going to start up front. And we didn't talk about it. We'll get to it the next time, Blake. Stinney filling in on that offensive line. Yeah. What Smith looks like again this year. Didn't have to talk about him a lot this year. Thank you, Donovan Smith. I did not have to talk about you a lot this year. I was not superbly upset. Now you did some stuff, but you was okay on an overall this season. You was not, everything panned out in your favor. And listen, when the GOAT is out there with you and he can throw the ball that fast, you don't actually need to block that long.
No, you just gotta hold him.
Somebody made everybody look good, but we're going to just smile because we look good. That's all I got, Blake.
Definitely. Well, Deshun, we'll end this program as we always do. I'm Blake Anthony, Sports Talk 49, always accompanied by this gentleman. Oh, let me get that up for you. This gentleman right here with the cash flow, Deshun T-Man Tisdale, right out there in Georgia. I'm gonna get out there and see him this year. We're gonna get together.
Let me get some lemon pepper. Oh, sorry, Blake. I need the lemon pepper wings. Where we going? Oh, sorry, Blake. Cut me out. I'm gonna go get some lemon peppers right now.
Oh, go while he's ordering wings. We'll get out of here. You're the master of everything. What you do with your life, what you do, it's entirely up to you.
Hey,
thank you guys. God bless. As always, fry those wings. Fire those cannons.
Hey, fry hard, all flats. You know what it is. Hey, Gwinnett is not Atlanta.
See y'all later.
You having a huge party?
Nope, just me.
Get delicious cuisine from the country's best chefs delivered right to your door with the click of a button.